Hello and welcome to episode 62 of Dots, Lines, and Destinations. It's September 11th, 2014. This episode we look at new liveries, talk about first class, a lawsuit, and a Delta security incident. Guys, it's...
And hotel bonus points.
Oh, hotel bonus points. Dang it, I leave something off the list every time.
This is only the second time we've actually had a list, isn't it?
Yeah, but I have my own list that I'm going off of.
Okay, I mean, to be fair, I'm sure you screwed it up the first time too, so this is every time. But I was trying to help you out.
I'm batting 1,000. We got some new liveries. Southwest and Frontier both unveiled new liveries this week. Southwest did it, I believe, Monday, and Frontier unveiled theirs on Tuesday. What do you guys think? Have you seen them?
Did you guys ever watch the movie The Replacements?
Yes.
Rolo, pause.
The football one, yes.
Yes. Am I the only one who, when they keep saying you got to have heart, it takes heart, flashes to the end of that movie and wonders why Gene Hackman and Keanu Reeves weren't involved in the press conference? Apparently, that's a yes.
Yes. Hadn't given it that much thought, but that makes some sense.
I don't know. That's what, when they kept talking about you got to have heart, the Southwest heart, and this and that, that's actually where my brain went. So I'm broken in many ways, but that's tonight's answer.
We should kind of explain that. So the logo is the heart, and they're talking about the plane names are now Heart 1 and Heart 2, which I don't know if they're going to keep doing that. Are they going to have like a Heart 137 written on the side? 137.
There's going to be Heart 637 if they keep it up. but not for 7 years, because as the CEO explained, well, it's really expensive to repaint all the planes.
So what happens when they decommission a plane or when they have an incident one? Is that then a broken heart?
And I thought my replacements line was great and thought it kicked my ass.
That was a good one.
That was spectacular.
I mean, yeah. in general, what do you guys think? I mean, the biggest problem for me is not the colors. Everybody can complain about the colors. The font. I hate the font. The colors I don't care about.
They made it themselves.
That's terrible. They paid too much.
Well, clearly, because it's basically just like a combination of Helvetica and Arial bold, but... Yeah, my first thought was I'm vaguely against the font as well, and I don't really care. So,
and the colors aren't terrible. I mean, it's the typical. They've changed the purple or whatever blue they call it, but it's the typical colors. It looks like the old colors, just in a new pattern or a new, slightly wider.
Well, they're getting rid of the orange.
Yes.
Or the dirt brown or whatever color we're going to call that. But yeah, they're getting rid of that. They're adding silver,
which is strange, but.
Yeah, and apparently, right, so one of the problems with the old livery apparently is that the paint faded too quickly, and the new paint, even though it's only a slightly different color, is actually supposed to last longer. It's something to do with the chemicals in it.
Interesting.
So, that's part of it, but other than that, I really have no idea.
There was a whole Twitter discussion about all this.
No one can answer my question.
It's a paint job, so one of the famous lines that everybody says is, I fly on the inside of the plane, not on the outside, so I don't really care what it looks like. But it's a marketing branding thing, so we're going to talk about it. So. Well,
and it's not just a paint job. I mean, they are rebranding
the airline.
Nuts, everything.
Yeah. The website, their new commercial. Have you seen the new commercial that they came out with, the paint job? I actually thought it was pretty good. I don't like the heart stuff, of course, but the general feel, because they have some unhappy employees, and I think the commercial part of it was to appease or make the employees a little happier with their work situation. I know that they've got some stuff going on.
But will a new ad make employees happy, or a new paint job? I mean,
did it work for United? I mean,
clearly not.
Buyer friendly.
Well, not so much, depending if you're a million miler or not.
No, Foz, we're not quite there yet. It's an excellent segue, but a little early.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but before U.S. Airways rebranded, they were called U.S. Air.
Yes.
And I think it cost like $70,000 for that name change or something stupid like that.
To have the re-logo be done?
No, like the new, they paid a company to come up with a new image and then just added basically Waze.
Well, I mean, United paid a lot of money for the name United Club.
Oh my God. This makes my head hurt.
We're in the wrong business.
We are.
I don't know. No, anyways.
And then Frontier today came out. Well, we're recording this on Tuesday, so Frontier today came out with a new a livery as well, and it's like they jam-packed every single livery possibility into one livery. So they have a new logo swoosh with the F. It's the old Saul Bass F. and they now have their website name on the plane. They've got a touch of color, and they also have the animals still on the tail.
And there's a funky cheat line down the side.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, the cheat line has like a plane in it or something at the nose and at the back,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, yeah.
It's livery by ADD. I mean, that's
Photoshop gone wrong?
Yes. They let the intern loose on Photoshop, and this is what they got.
Well, when you're selling seats for $39 a seat, you can only afford so much.
Free.
No, come on, give them some credit. They went to 99 Designs. This was the best one.
Fiverr?
I appreciate the bringing back the Saul Bass logo. Like, if that had been it actually wouldn't have been that bad of a logo change. I appreciate them bringing a little bit of history back to the airline, but it just seems like too much when you look at the planes. I mean, we'll post a photo of both, or a link to the photo of both, and let our listeners decide. But I mean, you've flown them, Seth. What do you think?
I was on the inside of the plane.
Oh,
I knew he was going to say that. I knew he was going to do that.
You set me up. What else was I supposed to say?
I kind of teed it up for him. I was hoping he'd go a little more risque than that, but
I don't give a damn.
I don't care.
I really take the Doug Parker version of this, which is, why should I possibly care what the paint job is on the outside of the plane? I like looking at nice paint jobs. I like looking at special liveries because it's something that, the airline thinks is special. I think to date, my favorite ever was, there was an airline, I believe in South Africa, that had a Little Debbie snack cakes special livery. And it was spectacular. But that just is because it invoked my memories of being a child.
What's the Russian airline S7? They painted theirs with highlighters.
Ooh, that would be bright.
Isn't that S7? It's like bright green.
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah.
They're part of One World, S7.
Yes, they are.
It's actually called Siberia Airlines, actually. That's what it is.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Is it?
It could be. That may have been the original name, yeah.
Before they got rebranded to S7.
They probably got their money's worth on that change. Norwegian puts a face of a different famous Scandinavian on every tail.
Oh, that's right.
So all of their planes are different. I mean, it's consistent, but they're different. Each one is unique. Obviously, Frontier has the different animals. So there are some airlines that do things a little different. JetBlue has the different tail designs, but there's only like 8 or 10 of them. So plus a few specials.
I mean, you guys all keep track of your tail numbers, right?
Yep. I mean, some days are better than others.
I mean,
I usually take a picture and then forget to write it down.
Well, that's the airline geek in us, though. So, like, I keep track of all of mine. I know which planes I've flown more than once, and it's kind of cool to see which. Sometimes I didn't even realize I was on a special livery plane, and then I'll go look at the tail number, and it was and that tells you how aware I am at.
Right. So then, who cares what's painted on the outside? You were actually looking and didn't even notice.
That's my point. Yeah, sometimes I just don't even notice, or I'll grab the tail number from the app, and I won't know that it's the Eco Skies plane. So.
Hey, you told me I was on the Eco Sky planes the one day when I was in Houston, and you were like taking off.
Yeah, I saw you out the window. You were taxiing to the runway, and we were taking off, and I looked out and I saw you were on the Eco Skies. It was kind of funny. So anyway, I was using my phone improperly, Seth. After the gate. I apologize.
Your phone was not switched to airplane mode?
It was not.
Ooh.
If you were flying Southwest, they actually provide internet even on the ground.
Really?
Yeah, their satellite service with Row 44. Mm-hmm. They turn it on even on the ground.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I just can't justify paying the $8 for my hour and a half flight down to Tennessee.
Is the service pretty good on their flights?
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's KU, which is similar to what United has on their Airbus and international fleet.
So how do they turn it on the ground? I mean, how are they allowed to do that? Is that something we could see United do at some point?
They could if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
There are technical issues with when you're doing a takeoff roll and turn and whatnot. You potentially move too quickly for the antenna to adjust and keep the connection during that phase.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if there's a issue with how the sort of FAA rules are and the licensing and such. I don't think there is. I think it's just a matter of whether they have it turned on or not.
Yeah.
But Southwest lets you actually use the Wi-Fi, take off to touchdown, and taxi, gate to gate.
Well, see, because what would be cool is you have United with the streaming entertainment, and you could do that gate to gate. You don't necessarily need the outer antenna. You just need the internal connection, right?
Sure.
To get
There's no reason that couldn't be on.
Yeah, I mean,
that I can think of.
That'd be cool.
Obviously, you have the issue of you can only watch on your iPhone, but not on your iPad or laptop or whatever. There's the rules about which devices you're allowed to have out. But
now this brings up a whole new thing, because what if I have the iPhone 6 Plus?
Oh my God.
Then you can watch the TV on your iWatch, but not because it's attached to your hand. but it's a really small screen, so you'd have to hold it very close to your eye.
And if you start tweeting while you're next to me using your voice, so help me God. So John Rainey, who is he? He's United's
CFO.
CFO, yeah. He was on Bloomberg and made a statement that first class is kind of a waste of money, right, Seth?
Yeah, he was. It's not that just that first class is a waste of money; it's that United's first class is a waste of money. This is a direct quote from his interview when basically the person said, it was actually interesting and probably bad in many ways. He started off basically acknowledging that there was a set of United customers and then, the people like him from Continental. And he sort of said that out loud, which was inappropriate in many ways and bad for morale and company and everything and marketing and whatever. It's just stupid and dumb. But he basically said, we're moving towards a 2-cabin plane plus economy plus because that's what the customers that we fly are looking for. Okay, fine. That's no surprise. And then the host said, well, business class and first class are basically the same thing, right? And he said, quote, there are customers that will simply book first class because it is first class, but it's effectively the same service. You've got a very similar product, a very similar seat. Even the food service is very similar, end quote.
Oh, my God.
But here's the thing, he's not wrong.
Well, no, but
the food is almost identical.
But
you get a soup, an extra appetizer, and those little petit four cakes for dessert. There's no difference.
It's a hot appetizer versus the cold, and then the
soup.
Yeah.
Okay.
But was he talking about United though, or
yes,
all first class?
No, he was specifically talking about United. You do get a better seat, and that's the thing that's hard to sort of. It's hard to sort of reconcile, right? It is a much better seat when you're on a 3-cabin plane, just from a personal space perspective.
And this is global first. This isn't domestic first. This is international first.
This is long haul international global first class services. And so on the 777, it's 111 or 242. It's a big difference in personal space. The 767 is not quite as significant, but it's still a big difference in personal space. But they're all flat beds.
Yeah.
And so I think that's at the end of the day, the main reason people want/need that premium cabin is to be able to sleep so they can work when they get wherever they're going. And the flat bed is the difference there.
True.
So at that point, what else? The rest of it is.
I would say
crap.
the argument on the 777s from a personal space perspective is in business, like you said, it's 242. It is tight on the 777s. The old
you could be in the middle, and you could be in the middle seat essentially.
Yeah, it's very
snuggling with the person in the other middle seat.
Yeah, no comment.
You gotta call dibs on big spoon, little spoon.
So I see it from that perspective, but I think what he failed, where this fell on its face is that you're saying
they let him speak in public again.
Exactly.
Well, this is the same guy that busted out some of our elites are over entitled.
It's true. This guy.
And again, in full context, his quote was correct and was reasonable and deserves more than the dig I just gave it. But this guy's got a reputation at this point of if I was in the PR department or CorpCom department, I'd want to chase him down and put a muzzle on him. Yeah,
don't let him speak. No more. Because here's the idea, right? Let's say you're flying business class Chicago to Frankfurt. That's a, let's say $6,000 ticket round trip.
Sure.
Global first is $10,000 round trip.
Not to Sydney.
Well, I'm talking about just Frankfurt, Chicago, Frankfurt.
Oh, Frankfurt. Sorry.
That's $10,000. You're telling the guy that spent the $10,000 essentially that he got the same service for the most part that the guy in business class got.
Yep.
I'm taking my money to Lufthansa or someone. I'd take my money to Lufthansa anyway. But now you're giving that guy a reason to take his money somewhere else.
But, okay, so wait,
the question I'm going to ask Lufthansa.
Yeah, that's one fair point. But who's actually paying for first class? There's some corporate contracts which wouldn't let you go fly another carrier anyways. But the bulk of the people in first are generally employees.
That's true.
Or GPUs from business.
Right. But even that, it's full fare business. Right? Because you can't upgrade any of the discounted business fares.
True.
But right, a lot of the corporate contracts, you're getting a significant discount on those full fare tickets,
right,
and then upgrading them.
I'm not discounting that whatsoever. That is absolutely true. But who's actually, the question that I had was who's actually paying for the product? And I would say not very many people, if any at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
They've said London is probably their one market where they have a lot. London and Tokyo, I think, are the two markets that have been stated as being first class heavy.
Yep.
So outside of that, I don't see many people paying for it.
I haven't seen the statement for those markets. Don't surprise me.
Yeah. So I don't know. We're sure they're going to all move to a 2-class with economy plus. That's the future of United, right? Eventually, global first is going to go away, and I really don't think United cares that that's the future. Maybe they welcome it.
Well, I mean, if you want to fly first, they'll gladly sell you a ticket on Lufty and make money off you.
Yeah. Probably part of the joint venture, right?
Yeah, but I mean, even Lufty's cutting back first class.
And that's the thing that people who think this is a stupid move or are up in arms about, well, if they just made a better first class, they could obviously sell it more. A, no, and B, absolutely not. And 3, even the carriers that still sell a lot of first class are cutting back on first class. Emirates is reducing the number of planes that have a full first class cabin, right? Singapore Airlines is cutting back. Lufthansa is cutting back.
American.
I mean, sure, but I was talking about good ones.
Oh.
Nah, their new first is great, actually. But their old first was the difference with their old first and their old business was it was flatbed versus not.
Yeah.
And as they're putting in flatbed business, they're realizing that they don't really have a compelling reason to sell first class anymore. So it's the same thing.
So do you think that there's going to be an upsurge of better economy plus products? And by that I mean not just a seat anymore, but a slightly different service in economy class,
like version and like a true like international like premium economy.
Yeah.
Well, if you look back 20 years ago, there was no business class.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's just the same transformation again, which is the top tier is falling off. They're going to introduce something in the middle again. And then business will become, you'll have business, premium economy plus, whatever you want to call it, an economy.
Yeah. Right. But I think, Faz, the question here is economy plus / main cabin extra / economy comfort sufficient to sort of drive those middle ground revenues and yields, or do the U.S. carriers need to go to a full, proper premium economy product, right? I mean, the reason the premium economy product is so popular is that the yields are much higher because it doesn't take up that much more space, but they can charge a decent premium on it. And they're getting a reasonable number of business class or, business travelers, not business class, but, paid corporate contract type folks buying that instead of business class.
I think we will see the domestic premium economy product, or we will see a real premium economy product, at least on the international flights, as time progresses, because more and more companies are not going to want to pay for the full business class, but they'll pay a little more than economy.
How far do you think we are from that?
I would say probably 3 to 5 years.
Okay. Yeah. In this industry, it's hard to predict anything that far out, right? I mean, we could have two airlines go out of business in that time and wouldn't know what the hell happened. But,
right. But I think
I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful you're right. It's hard for me to believe. I don't know. It's hard for me to see that happening too quickly. But 3 to 5 years, I could see it.
I mean, my company last year made a change where they're like, we're not flying people in business class unless you're a VP or above. But if you're on a flight longer than 5 hours, we'll fly you in premium economy.
Yeah.
So that's becoming. I mean, and I know mine's not the only company that's done that. So it's becoming more commonplace. So they're like, we'll pay the extra $500 or whatever it is.
Well, but not the extra $5,000.
Well, and Lufthansa is already introducing a premium economy product.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's coming. It's just...
And they were considered late to the game.
Yeah. So it's coming. I mean, it's going to be there. I just think who picks it up will be interesting to see. Delta, to me, stands out as the most likely to introduce a separate product first.
They also have smaller business class cabins, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So that almost makes sense in some regard there.
Yeah.
As long as we're sort of talking about this in-flight passenger experience sort of stuff now, I figure I'll throw in a plug. Next week, I will be at the Airline Passenger Experience Conference out in Anaheim, similar to the Aircraft Interiors Expo in April, where we had a special recording. I'm hoping to get the rest of the cronies drunk and on mic again, and see if we can't have some fun talking about, 6 months later, 5 months later, any changes that have happened in terms of in-flight connectivity and all those sorts of things. So hopefully a special episode at some point next week, for the so y'all see that. But pay attention, it's coming. And if anyone's out in Southern California and wants to hang out, drop me a line. There's going to be a few parties open to the public, or open enough to the public that we can sneak in.
Open enough.
I just don't really pay attention to rules like who's allowed to show up to drink or not. I just tell people to show up and then bully our way inside.
Cool. So Emirates, there's some interesting stuff going on with them and the financing of some plane orders. Rolo, do you know the details on this? It's some kind of financing that they've lined up, and now the U.S. courts are saying not so fast.
Well, the Export-Import Bank, I guess, has some sort of agreement where Emirates can get discounted finance, or it's guaranteed, I guess, by the U.S. government, so they have lower interest rates. And I think it's up for renewal, and they're not sure whether they're going to renew this agreement. But Emirates has stated they're going to most likely buy the planes anyways. I think it was related, and Seth might know about this more, to the 777X, about their future orders, but Emirates has said they would still order them and I guess use their own financing or their Chase Sapphire card.
We're still trying to figure out if Boeing classifies as a travel purchase or not. Those double points matter, man. No, I mean, right. This is basically the U.S. carriers and various other groups are lobbying hard to get the Export-Import Bank to rein in financing to what are seen as tremendously profitable foreign carriers. Like the theory behind the Exim Bank was that it would guarantee financing and keep the rates relatively low for upstarts who need, help getting financing to buy planes or anything else from United States companies. Emirates seems to be reasonably profitable and have, gobs of cash, sort of Scrooge McDuck style. So it's not clear that they need the help or the guaranteed lower rates, but, you can't blame them. If it's on offer, you'd take it. So they continue to take it as long as it's on offer. And this has been going on for several months now, sort of discussions about whether the Exim Bank will be reauthorized. It's apparently like many things Congress does, sort of goes on a year-by-year or term-by-term basis, and they basically have to decide every now and then, we still want to keep those guys in business. So
is it only Boeing that has this issue, or anybody else?
Well, it's based on any U.S. exports. So basically, the Exim Bank can assist in the financing of anything sold from a U.S. company to a foreign company. And in the airline industry, that means Boeing. There's obviously, in the rest of the world, there's lots of other industries and lots of other companies that get involved. But for airplanes, that's basically it. I suppose maybe GE gets involved with their engines.
Well, that was my question. When you buy the plane, I guess the engine is separate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know if they're buying GE engines or Rolls-Royce, and if GE does that also go through the Exim Bank.
To me, it makes sense to keep the Exim Bank around for the startup carriers in foreign countries. I mean, that's the purpose. That was the intended purpose, right? I mean, to help carriers like Iraqi Airways get back on their feet by buying new Boeing airplanes. Things like that, right? I mean, that was the purpose. I don't think Emirates necessarily needs special help in financing their aircraft. They're about to take delivery of their last A380, the 50th one or whatever number it is now. So is it unfair? I don't know if it's unfair. It just seems a little outside of the realm of the Exim Bank.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't want to jump into this topic, do you? The political side of this one. Meh.
I think it's all politics, and this is one of those things, right? It's like, when you get people fighting, it's Delta saying, don't give Emirates cheaper airplanes, is essentially, or Delta and United and American saying, don't give Emirates cheaper airplanes.
And I'm sure
I respect that, because competitively speaking, that's good for them. But, for me as a customer, it's not entirely clear that I should care too much.
Well, I'm sure Lufthansa, Swiss, and a bunch of European carriers are going, yes, don't give them airplanes, please.
Well, yeah, but they don't get to vote in the United States, it turns out.
Now, tell us about United's ongoing lawsuit. I thought this thing was dead.
It was. Or, I suppose we're doing a little Monty Python. Not dead yet. Mr. Lagan, I'm not sure how we're pronouncing it, has filed a suit basically seeking class action status, claiming that United cut his Million Miler benefits inappropriately, breaching the contract that he had with them about the Million Miler program. And it's gone back and forth through the courts in Illinois, and it was dismissed back in January with a summary judgment. It's now been appealed. That summary judgment dismissal was appealed, and oral arguments were heard on Monday this week. So his attorney and United's attorney basically stood in front of a 3-judge panel and talked about why each of them was right, basically, in the suit. And I'm not entirely clear whether this is just to decide whether the case gets reinstated or to move forward on other sort of actual decision-making points. But it was interesting. It was only 10 minutes per person or per side, oral arguments. So it ended up being about a 22-minute hearing. And then the typical, we will take this under advisement and decide later kind of thing from the judges. But I listened to the transcript and actually transcribed a lot of it back into text, and I can share a link to that. It's pretty interesting in some ways. There was the part where basically the attorneys or the judges asked United, so this is, lifetime until you change your mind, right? And United had no choice but to say, well, yeah, So, their version of lifetime is basically, well, it's lifetime unless we change our mind, right? If we find that, having a lifetime benefit is a bad business model, we can change our mind and there's nothing you can do about it. So that's, not really what you want to hear as a customer. But that, there's sort of at one point, one of the judges said, so like, you had your fingers crossed behind your back or have you been lying to your customers? United wasn't too happy about that. At the same time, the Lagan's attorney basically said the reason he brought the suit is because, yes, he still has the same tier as what a 50,000-mile flyer would have had back under the old system, but now there's a new tier above him and he doesn't get as many upgrades as he used to, and that's unfair. And so one of the judges asked, so you're saying United should never be allowed to create a new tier? He said, no, you can create new tiers, but if you do that, you have to bump us all up so that we stay at that sort of relative to the top, we stay at that level.
But they didn't get complimentary upgrades before.
And also, GS wasn't a published tier, so you could argue that they were already third down, and now with GS as a published tier, they're still third down. Right. Also, it's a stupid argument. It's interesting in a lot of ways. Some of the contract law stuff that's ridiculously esoteric and sort of doesn't matter to anybody except lawyers is interesting. And it will be, I don't know, I'm looking forward to seeing what the attorneys decide, or what the judges decide in terms of how it all plays out. I am not optimistic for him. I think that despite United's seemingly ridiculous, we can change the rules and just abolish the program anytime we want, even though we said it's for life, claim probably will hold.
Well, and the one judge seems pretty, from your transcript, seems pretty well versed in the United's program.
Yeah, so the three judges were a sort of ridiculous spread. There was one guy who didn't understand what upgrades were. At one point, it's like, wait, so you move a few roads forward on the plane? What's the big deal? And then, when he found out it was first class, still didn't really understand what that was. When talking about million mile or companion benefit or spousal benefit, one of the judges, actually the judge who knew everything, said, well, it doesn't have to be a spouse, right? And the attorney, who should have known better, said, well, I'm pretty sure that's correct. We'll have to look into it. And at which point, Judge Posner, the one who didn't understand anything, said, so what, can I nominate my cat? Yeah, it's not entirely clear where that came from, but he wanted to make his cat his million miler companion. At the other end is Judge Wood, who she, off the top of her head, quoted the Houston to Chicago mileage credit number for United.
Impressive, actually.
And it sort of freaked the United attorney out, who's like, wow, I'm amazed you knew that. And at which point the judge sort of mumbled under her breath, you have no idea. Or you wouldn't believe. Something to that effect. So it was interesting in that regard. She clearly understood the programs and rightfully noted that some people pay extra to get the points. So you can't say, I didn't pay for the points or pay for the status. Because obviously that's part of a contract, was there something paid for. United's attorney made the point, and for each of those tickets purchased, the claimant was transported from point A to point B, which of course he was, but he also got points and all these other things. So it's really an interesting contracts case. Also challenging about it is that at some point they're going to make a decision, and if they say like United's not allowed to have a contract that allows them to make unilateral changes like that, it's possible that the state courts aren't going to be able to actually make that decision, and United will say, well, the Department of Transportation actually has jurisdiction over those sorts of claims, so you can't make that decision. So this whole case has to be dismissed, and if there's really a problem, they have to file a new claim at the federal level instead of the state level.
But if they made a decision like that, that could have severe ramifications for all loyalty programs.
Yes. And forget loyalty programs, it has significant ramifications for everything.
Right. I mean, you're right, but loyalty programs in particular, I mean, they're not going to guarantee anything at that point.
How do you tell a loyalty program you're never allowed to change your award chart? Yeah. How do you tell a loyalty program you're never allowed to change earning rates?
Well, hey, if they could do that before March 1st of 2015, that would be awesome.
I thought you were one of the guys that was going to benefit, Stephen.
No, I'm going to do very poorly.
Are you? Oh, now you're transcon.
Now that he's changed his style.
Yeah,
you're transcons now, I forgot.
Yeah, I'm raking them in now. I'm going to drop down to nothing. So
we could fly Southwest and Frontier then.
Oh, yippee-yay-ki-yay.
You can livery up. Livery it up.
He could be the true hipster and start flying Virgin America.
Oh, God.
To Austin, right to Austin.
Yeah, right.
No, Love Field to
Dallas, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Laugh it up, guys. Laugh it up. Hey, we get Iceland service soon.
We already have Iceland service.
Yeah, but I've already got that line, Foz. His is better in that regard.
That's true. He gets a better line.
Yeah. So,
Twice daily, actually. It seems like a lot to me.
It's twice weekly.
Oh, twice weekly? That's not nearly as much.
No.
I saw 2x and got really confused.
I read that the same way at first. I'm like, that's not right. That's twice weekly.
Clearly, I didn't click through the link.
Yeah,
Delta's now in charge of their schedule.
Wait, I wonder if this means that Iceland Air and Alaska may reshore up their partnership that blew up.
that would be actually pretty cool because that was one of my I was high on my list for a redemption on Alaskan was using my miles for Iceland Air because the rates are pretty bad. But I was actually looking at the coach tickets because they've already put them in the system for Portland to Reykjavik, and it's $700 round trip beginning of summer in coach, which isn't terrible. And you can tag on Europe on that for I think it's like $150 surcharge. So, and
you can do like a 7-day stopover.
Yeah, so
for free.
I'm thinking I'll just pay. I mean, it's not bad at all.
That's a bargain.
Still flying that with the 7.5?
Yeah, it'll be 7.52s. Yep.
It's not gonna be comfortable, but
no,
it's a good price.
Because as we all discussed last time, 7.52s across the Atlantic just shouldn't happen.
Hey, well, we don't actually really cross much water from Portland to
a lot of Great Lakes to be crossed.
Yes.
Well, it's like the Hudson Bay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
over Canada.
It's just a bay.
It's not a very big bay.
Do you guys know that Iceland Air, their websites are all like .us, .ca, like everyone has their own country. It's not like /US or something like that.
They have a domain for every...
Yeah, like it's like icelandair.us is their US site. Icelandair.nl is their Iceland or whatever Dutch site.
Their Dutch site, yeah.
And Russia is like something crazy though.
It's not RU?
Well, it's like ru.icelandair.net or something like that.
It'll be fun. I think that'll be a nice route. Hopefully it does well because it'd be kind of cool to see that one go, 5 times weekly or something. So what else do we got here? Oh, a bunch of fourth quarter hotel promotions are starting up soon. Seth, you have the details. I know about the Starwood one, but I'll let you fill everybody in on the Intercontinental and Marriott.
Yeah, so Marriott's promo this fourth quarter is basically just double points, which is fine. It's not nearly as big as their previous mega bonus promotions have been. So there's some folks who are disappointed in that. Intercontinental has Into the Nights, which is basically a rebranded version of the Big Win. So each person gets sort of a couple things you have to do. And then if you do each individual task, you get some points. If you do all the tasks, you get some big pool of bonus points. Or this time around, one of the things that's different about it is instead of like a big pool of bonus points, you could actually just choose free nights instead. Mm-hmm. So I looked at it. That one was still less than spectacular to me. And mine is actually pretty easy. I think I could do it 3 nights over 2 stays, each of which is a different Holiday Inn on a Saturday night. Book through the mobile app would get it for me, and I still am having a hard time believing that like it's a good idea for me to find a couple random Saturday nights to spend in Holiday Inns. And to be fair, part of that is like in New York City, there's not a cheap Holiday Inn nearby.
There's the one down on Wall Street.
You think that's cheap on a Saturday night?
Probably. And the one it's like right there on it's just north of Wall and Water.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm guessing.
My guess is there's probably like a suburban one that I can get to on a train, go check in, and then leave for 3 days and not care. But I'd have to, spend a day going back and forth to do that.
Yeah.
Go stay at like one of the JFK properties or the Newark Airport properties. They're pretty craptacular.
Yeah, I'm not going to sleep in any of them. What are we kidding?
No, but they're pretty cheap because they're so craptacular.
Yeah, fair. I mean, plus 3 hours and $25 round trip to Newark. But anyway. And then Club Carlson, I actually got a random email yesterday or today or something telling me I get 3x points at Club Carlson stays too. All of which I basically am going to ignore. And then there's the Starwood promo. Do you have the details on that? Or?
Yeah, it's double star points on stays of 2 or more eligible nights, which eligible nights, the definition of that is it has to be one of the hotels that's participating in the promo. And then triple star points on eligible stays that include a Friday or Saturday night. So,
have you seen
Thursday or Friday in the Middle East, though? Because their weekend's different.
Yes.
Have you seen the list of excluded hotels?
Yes.
I heard it's bad this time.
It's like half the hotels I would stay at are on that list. I'm like, I guess this promo does nothing for me.
Yeah, the list is relatively long.
No, just about every W is excluded.
It's 170 hotels or something, I think.
Yeah, it's every W in New York. It's
every Starwood in New York City.
No, the 4 points isn't on there.
Oh yeah, sorry.
4
points isn't on there. Neither of the
Rollo doesn't stay at a 4 points.
Hey, anything that has good internet is included on that list. That's their determination characteristic.
Well, it's interesting. Jeez.
How about the Sheraton Chinatown North?
Yeah, that one's not on the list. That one counts because
you said the 4 points that has no internet service, or the Sheraton Chinatown, which is just a shithole. Those are your two choices if you want to stay in New York and earn double points.
Sheraton Brooklyn, that's also an option, or the Aloft Brooklyn is also an option, or the Sheraton in
Tarrytown.
Out by LaGuardia.
Oh, Flushing East?
Yeah, Flushing East. Yes.
That was actually not bad.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about staying out there in a few weeks. I have to be in Queens for a while, so. Yeah, I think the promo is good. It's just there's a lot of excluded hotels, so just make sure you check the list. We can actually post the link to the list of hotels that aren't included.
The Westin Portland is out.
Yeah, but the Nines is.
What about the Nines?
No, it's not on the list.
Hey, big spender.
Yeah, which is funny because the Westin's usually more expensive than the Nines historically, from what I found. So, yeah, so that's all the promos. There was a Hilton one too, right, Seth? But I don't know if we have the details on that one.
There may or may not be.
For Starwood?
No,
for
Hilton promo. I'm pretty sure there's one. I'll see if we can get a link in the show notes.
Yes, Starwood's going to do a promo for Hilton.
Stay in a Hilton, get 3 star points. Foz, I think this week we're going to give you the rant because we forgot to say it at the beginning, but it is our fine producer's birthday, and happy birthday to him.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Excuse me.
So 3 days from when we go live, or so roughly.
But your mom showed up with a pretty cool present to kick it off.
That's right. A bottle of Dom Peach she stole it from Singapore Airlines.
We're going to go out on a limb and say it was given to her by a gracious flight attendant on Singapore Airlines and that she didn't steal anything.
She was hanging out in the front galley and goes, "Oh, this looks nice."
Oh, look, it fits perfectly into my purse.
I love a good 5-finger discount.
No, she actually didn't get it from a plane. That was like a joke.
It was more funny when you left it that way.
Kill the joke.
But happy birthday, Rolo.
Thank you, guys.
Indeed.
Foz, what is your rant? You actually have 2 of them, right?
Well, one's a little bit of a rant, but one's more of a very interesting story. Last Friday, I think it was Friday, I was flying from Fort Lauderdale to JFK. And it was on Delta because I had to be back by a specific time. That was my only option. So I paid for the first ticket because it was $50 more. So I get on. I'm tired as hell, and I sit down pretty much half asleep. We're getting ready to depart. There's some kerfuffle. And the next thing I know, someone's being escorted off the plane. And from what I could tell, we had an extra passenger on board that shouldn't have been on board.
What?
And
Is that a crazy lady from California has started stowing away in Florida now?
Possibly, it could be her. Yes, it was an older woman. I didn't get a good enough look at her, but it definitely wasn't like a standby person who was overcommitted. It was someone was being escorted off. And but it was an interesting experience. I'm like, whatever. I go back to shutting my eyes and chilling out. And so we push back, we taxi, blah blah blah. Just as we're at the edge of the runway, the gentleman 1C just looks at the flight attendant and goes, "I don't want to go." And the flight attendant's like, "What? I don't want to go. I want to get off the plane." And he's like, "Well, can you tell me why?" "No, I just don't want to go." Fine. So the flight attendant picks up the phone, calls the pilot. They have their little discussion. We pull to the side. We wait a few minutes. And then 2 minutes later, the guy goes, "You know what? Don't worry about it. Keep going."
Oh my God.
And the flight attendant's like, "What? Oh, don't worry about it. Keep going." It's like, and I'm like, I'm just sitting there going, I have no idea what's going on. So captain comes on the PA, says, "We're going back to the gate. The passenger wants to get off." So we go back to the gate, open the door. The guy gets off, talks to somebody I couldn't see because it was in the jetway, and I was on the left side of the plane. But I do at one point hear them go, "Do you have any bags?" And he goes, "No." And when he got off the plane, he had nothing in his hand. So he gets off the plane with nothing in his hand. He says he has no bags. They go, "Okay." They shut the door and off we go. So I was pretty amazed that they did nothing to check to see if there was any bags that were unclaimed in first class. I can understand check bags. They would know about that. But they didn't even check for any sort of carry-on or any sort of situation. I found that very peculiar.
Did you see when you guys were getting off in JFK, did you notice that there was a bag left in the overhead bin?
I did not even pay attention. This was the first time I was on a flight where I actually questioned if I would get to my destination, given the way it was handled. So I was very happy to get to JFK, and I've never been so happy to get to JFK of all places.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a very interesting experience. I just didn't know what to make of it, but it really makes me wonder, it's like, how safe are we when we fly at this point?
The guy in 1C, I don't want to go. Can you I just leave him on the runway? I just open the door and let him off.
I mean, I get the fact that, okay, maybe you got scared or whatever, but then don't worry about it, keep going.
Like it's a car going down the highway.
It's a cab, right? It's a giant. It just goes back to the CO Unihound joke.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bus. It's a giant bus in the sky. Wow.
Which I saw we got that picture up for last week's the last podcast. That was amazing.
You're welcome. It's harder to find than you'd think.
Oh, I can imagine. It's probably buried in one of these old threads.
It's an old Firehawk thread. You got to search for it's our good buddy J. Edward. And there were a couple terms. I mean, harder than you'd think means if you just type co-unihound, it doesn't show up. But it didn't take me like an hour or anything.
That's good to know.
So now what's the rant?
Oh, the rant. I really want to understand what it actually means to have your bags tagged as a priority bag. So I had to actually check my bag a couple weeks ago when I was doing a multi-legged trip. And it was most of the flights were on American. So on United, they tagged my bag. It came out as expected. I'd get out, the most amazing one was landed in Atlanta, walked the 15 minutes to get the baggage claim, and my bag was already out there. Which I figured if I walked, I would still have a little bit of time, but I was amazed as to how quickly it was out. But it showed up, priority bags came out first, and off we go. American, on the other hand, I did a couple trips with them in that same week, and no fail, the priority bags were never the first bags. At JFK, it took 40 minutes before the first bags even popped out from the flight, and it was probably another 10 minutes before the elite bags started popping out.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and then San Diego, which was the one that was really surprising to me, at the commuter terminal, it was like one of the elite bags were the last bags to come out, and that's a pretty small terminal to begin with.
But I guess that would be my question. Okay, they were last to come out, but there were like a total of 18 bags off the plane?
There was a lot more bags. There's a lot of international connections on those flights.
Okay. I mean, I always get they're small planes, so I think not so many, but I guess if there's a lot of connecting flights, maybe.
But they're not as small as they used to be, right? They were 20 and 30-seat prop planes. They're now 50-seat regional jets.
Huh. Yeah, I did it on the, what's it called? The E-120s.
Yeah, United's still flying a couple of the E-120s. Some of them are CRJs, but American's all CR2s now, from what I can tell.
Bummer.
So, I mean, I've had that experience in United where the bag comes out last. Or on some of the regional flights, I thought they gave you that yellow handle thing. I thought that was supposed to make your bag, be put on the jetway first so you could get out of there.
It's supposed to. And they used to, the little message boards they have outside for the planes.
Yeah.
They used to put that up there, but apparently not everyone got the memo because I asked the GA a couple months ago. I'm like, aren't the yellow tag bags supposed to come out first? And they're like, what are you talking about?
What yellow?
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
I never got mine.
Yours never came?
I will go ahead and assume they sent it and it got lost, but, yeah, I never got one.
You seem heartbroken.
Yeah, it's really broken. Really, really driving me crazy.
How often are you on a regional jet, though, on United?
Once so far this year.
But the yellow tag isn't for the regional jets, though. It's supposed to be for all. Like he's talking about that yellow handle.
Yeah. For regular check bags, it would have the orange priority sticker too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really designed for the regional jets and the smaller planes where you gauge.
I did it once this year, Ithaca to Nashville via Newark. So it was actually 2 flights, one on a Dash 8 and one on an E45. I didn't have much of a choice. The Delta connection flight via Detroit was like $300 more expensive, and I couldn't justify that, even though I wanted the new lines. But yeah, that's actually that may be the only regional flight I've taken on United this year. I've been pretty good at avoiding them because there's just no reason to subject myself to that.
Oh man, I think that's the show, guys. I think we can end it on that note. Regional jets,
regional jets. Boom,
done.
That's why I started flying Southwest.
Let's go around the table. Tell everybody where they can find each of you. Rolla?
I am on Tumblr at mundosurfer.tumblr.com, and I'm at mundosurfer on Twitter.
Foz?
Twitter as FozM, and a new reactivated blog at upgrd.com/Foz.
And you actually have a post coming out soon.
I have a couple of posts. I have 3 posts in the hub already. I know.
A regional post.
Regional post.
It's been resurrected, folks. Get it now. And Seth?
I'm Wandering Airman, WANDR.me.
And I'm Steven Seagraves. I'm on Twitter at sseagraves, or you can follow my blog at badice.com. You can follow Dots, Lines, and Destinations on Twitter at DotsLines, or the website moredotsmorelines.com, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, everybody, and guys, thanks for joining me this week.
Bye bye.
Thank you.